Good morning, everybody, and a warm welcome to the DACH webinar on this Monday morning. We hope everybody is very well, and thank you so much for joining. We're just waiting as our audience starts to log on. If you just give us maybe 1 minute, we'll start the webinar shortly. Thanks for joining. Okay, people are coming in. Just another 20 seconds and we're going to start the webinar. Right, good morning everybody. Warm welcome to this DACH webinar. DACH webinar meaning German speaking markets. My name is Paul Wagner, and together with my colleague Andy Fairburn, we run the organization, the Nordic Tourism Collective, the organization and association to promote tourism to the Nordics. And together with our very close partners at ETOA, we're delighted to welcome you to the webinar today. This is part of our market insights, where we deep dive into different markets, into Europe, into the northern part of Europe. And we have a fantastic panel waiting for you today. Just to mention, if anybody has any questions, please put it in the Q&A link at the very bottom of there, and we'll endeavor to answer that question later on during the webinar. But I'd love to introduce you now to this super panel that we have lined up for you today. First of all, Mr. Jan Badeur from Nordic Marketing, the Managing Director. Morning, Jan. Hope you're well. And Janke Schlepp from Norway Pro Travel. Good morning, Janke.
Good morning. Good to see you.
Nice to see you, Janke. I'm delighted to welcome Bruno Brissich from Kontiki Reisen in Switzerland. Good morning, Bruno.
Hello, good morning.
Hi there. And lovely to meet Chris Winkels, the CEO from Highlander Reisen. Good morning, Chris.
Hello.
And finally, Thomas Marks, the Managing Director of Vianova Reisen. Good morning, Thomas.
Hi, good morning.
Fantastic panel. All these fantastic panelists are running different organizations, tour operators mainly in the Dutch-speaking market, so they have a really good idea of exactly what's happening. And first, I'm going to hand over to Mr. Jan Badeur, who's going to share his screen now and give us an overview of the German and Dutch-speaking markets. Over to you, Jan.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you very much. And yes, hello and good morning to everyone here from Germany. Just give you 1 more second. I will share the slides to show what's going on in the German-speaking countries so far. And I will soon. There it is. Here we go. So when we talk about the German-speaking countries, it's about Germany, about Switzerland, about Austria. And I'm so happy, as Paul already mentioned, that we have such a great audience, first of all, but then the panelists, those key players from the German and Swiss market with us here. We have had a survey and tour operator questionnaire running this autumn, where I will show you some results. But first of all, one slide I've shown a couple of times this year already, because this is definitely my favorite one. When we go and speak about the German-speaking countries, Scandinavia overtakes Turkey. And yes.
Can I just interrupt you, Jan? Because
yes, please.
It's not sharing for some reason. Could you just try and share it again?
All right. It says shared, but thank you for interrupting.
This looks better. There we go.
Stuck. Thank you so much, Paul. Yeah, for some reason it got stuck, but now it should be the right one. So back to the first one, because it's such a lovely view, and this is what we sell, market towards the people all over in the world, but it's the sort of landscape and all the activities and emotion which are related to the Nordic countries. But the headline, the one I've showed a couple of times, and this is a headline we love to share because it sort of tells us what's going on in the market. First of all, when we count those countries separately, they never end up in the top 10 when it comes to these German-speaking countries, especially the German market. It has always been the Mediterranean area, as we do know very well. But what is very clear in this message, that the Nordic countries, when combining those destinations, are taking over in terms of getting more and more popular. People are traveling more and more to the north, and this has been a clear change. It's of course a nice looking headline, and it's of course supporting all of our work when thinking of the travel industry towards the Nordic countries. In general, and I think this is something what is really important to see and to understand compared to many other markets, that the German-speaking countries, they are very, very strong in terms of business by tour operators, but as well still the travel agencies. And this is, of course, different in other markets, in other source markets. So the industry is doing very, very well, despite these 2 terrible years, we all know very well. They have been a turnover which is in record since ever, and even the travel agencies been struggling 2 years. They are back on track and doing very well in terms of turnover. Just shortly about the data we're using. So market check data is from our database, where we collect all the data of tour operators, Germany, Switzerland, Austria, and also the Benelux countries, selling Finland, Sweden, and Norway. And here we see that it's a very, very heterogeneous market. So we have lots of key players, and we have a lot of experts, but we have as well tour operators who are maybe having only 1 or 2 products, packages where people are staying overnight in those particular countries. But it tells a lot how strong this industry is and how relevant tour operators are when we talk about the Nordic countries and we talk about those source markets. Just to put those together, when talking about Swiss, German, and Austrian clients, the people who are traveling up to the north, they look for the nature, all nature-based activities. But the main reason is really to have some combination of the nature and the experiences produced by the suppliers, by the local suppliers, and the people who are traveling to the north. They have the money and the time to travel. They are very well, let's say, they are educated, but they're as well very experienced travelers. So they, of course, compare to previous travels. They compare pricing. They might be quite demanding when it comes to the services, but they are ready to pay for it. But the key is they look for authentic experiences. So especially the German-speaking countries, they come to meet the locals, to get to know the way of living. They are not coming for Disneyland. They are not coming for shopping. So they want to really meet the locals and have some experiences related to the nature. And they want to see, they want to feel, they want to taste the local food, and they want to meet the local people and learn about them. So the motivation to travel up to the north are those key issues when we talk about the Nordic countries. Just shortly about the seasonality, and when talking about year-round tourism, when talking about the German-speaking countries, this is just a glimpse of data we are having from Finland to give you a comparison data, how and what time of the year people are traveling. And we have, when we look to the German numbers, the blue one, we see that there's a very strong winter season, but it's mainly January, February, March. It's not that much December when we compare to previous years. So the majority of the winter tourism takes place in those months. At the same time, we see that we have a very, very long summer season. We have 84 million inhabitants living here in Germany. We talk about around about 100 million when we talk about the entire DACH area. And in the German-speaking countries, we talk about 6-week summer holidays, which takes place in different time of summer, different time of the year, in different parts of the country. It means we have a season starting from June all the way up to September. And when we compare this to other countries or to the neighbors, Switzerland had a very strong July, the same like in the Nordic countries, where you have this peak in the summer season, and a very, very strong winter, which is very much based on charter flights. I'm not going into more details when it comes to the consumers, but shortly about the survey we did a couple of weeks ago here in the German-speaking countries. So we got 23 answers from key accounts, key players from the market, so tour operators who are specialists in selling the Nordic destinations. We have 2 clear winners when comparing this year to the previous year. So it's the summer of Norway and the winter of Finland. And these are the ones who are doing very, very strong in the market. But looking in general, the Nordics are doing very well, but these are like kind of the peaks or the ones who are definitely making the business at the moment and are the key regions. When it comes to the type of traveling, it's car round trips in the summertime, very, very strong still. But when we look to the bottom, it's the summer and the winter activities in general. So all kind of activities related to the nature is the one people are looking for. Last but not least, what sort of activities? Hiking is very, very dominant in the summertime, very strong. But when we look again to the bottom, it's the husky safari, which is very dominant. But the winner, the overall winner, is definitely the Northern Light programs. And there we see that the season is starting earlier and earlier, also in terms of products and placements on the websites of the tour operator. That was a very brief and a very quick overview what's going on here on the market. And now we have, I think, some experts who can answer to more details and taking this as a start, the basic information. Thank you so far.
Jan, thank you very much. That's a very interesting and much appreciated as usual. Can I ask you a couple of questions before we go to the panelists?
Please.
In terms of the German market, everybody talks about that it's maybe a little bit of an old-fashioned market. There's still the old brochures and the clients kind of like to see their holidays in their hands. Is this still the case, or is it becoming a little bit more digitalized these days?
Yes and no. Well, first of all, it's fantastic for the paper industry in the Nordic countries. So we still use the paper. Yeah, they are traditional, but it's also combined to this service culture, the mentality in the Central European culture. Compared to the Nordic countries where you do everything by yourself, where you have a self-service culture, here people are ready to pay for it. Somebody is serving you. Same in a restaurant, same in the bar, but the same in the travel industry. So people are ready to pay for it. And if you go to a travel agency, there's somebody answering to your questions, helping you in the travel. They can compare different destinations. So they are the experts. And we are willing to pay for it, that there is an expert doing the job for you. Yes.
That's really interesting. And the travel agencies themselves, maybe they don't handle a huge volume, but basically these travel agencies are offering holidays all around Europe, I guess.
Exactly. We have a wide range. We're talking about 10,000 travel agencies still, even after Corona. And they do sell, of course, mainly the southern part. But then we have those tour operators, especially sitting with us next to us. They do, of course, direct sales, online sales, and they don't all of them produce brochures anymore. It's getting less, but still you need them being out on the travel fairs or using as a tool in the travel agencies. But then you have as well those specialists, tour operators and even travel agencies who are really into the Nordics and are able to answer to those special questions.
Right, interesting. Thank you. And one last question: if our audience today are looking to get involved in and offer some products to the German-speaking markets, would you suggest that they have quite a lot of written information? What's the best approach for their products? Should they have a brochure themselves? What's the best approach, both for tour operators and for travel agencies?
Well, first of all, you really need to know the tour operator. There are so many specialists. They have so many different sort of needs that you really need to figure out who's the target group you need for your services, for your destination. Preparing well needs as well having products made for the travel trade, not for the consumers, for the business people, for the ones who need all the facts. So you have to be very prepared. This can be on a paper version, but of course it can be also on a pad, on a computer, whatever. So there are many ways to present. But to do the homework beforehand, before reaching out or being on a trade fair, this is very, very important. Otherwise, somebody else will do the deal.
Thanks, Jan. And I think you've really emphasized how important the B2B market is in Germany. And we have a fantastic panel here from the B2B market in Germany who are going to give us a little bit more insight. So now I'm going to go to the rest of the panel. Thanks very much again, Jan. Maybe start with you, Janka, because you seem to be top of my screen. Good morning to you. Could you give us a little bit of a market update from your side, from your company? Introduce yourselves. Tell us a little bit about your organization, how things have been in 2024, and how's it looking for next year? Over to you.
Of course, I will do so. Thank you so much. My name is Janka Sharp. I'm the managing director for the two leading companies specialized on tailor-made trips to Scandinavia. I work for Nordic Holidays and Norway Pro Travel, and both companies belong to the Iceland Pro Travel Group. Our main office is situated in Hamburg, and we are sitting next to each other, working very closely together. For example, when it comes to contracting, I'm always doing the contracts for all Scandinavian companies we do have in the group. As I said, we are specialized on tailor-made trips to all over Scandinavia. We are offering products mainly in the winter time in Finland and partly in Norway. And when it comes to our summer products, then we mainly offer round-trip-based trips through Scandinavia, through Norway, Sweden, Finland, combinations, and so on and so on. That's what we are doing, what both companies are doing. When I compare the companies, when it comes to Nordic Holidays, they are specialized for winter tourism to Lapland, and we're selling trips mainly to direct customers, meaning we are an online tour operator. But we are serving some travel agents as well, of course, and when it comes, for example, to our Göta Kanal products, which is situated in Sweden. But in comparison to Norway Pro Travel, we are selling our trips to direct customers, to further tour operators, and to lots of travel agents. So it's really correct what Jan says before. The travel industry in Germany works a little bit in another way than, for example, in the Scandinavian companies. So the travel agencies are quite important for us. So we train them what to sell, and they're always in between the customers and what we do. Well, 2024 was a really good year for us. Every segment we are working in worked very well. The winter was quite good. Summer was really good. We are selling very much on the Havila product on the Norwegian coastline, for example. That was quite an important part of our work. And when we are looking to 25, it's okay. The winter is a little bit less for us, but the summer starts quite good. When I differ a little bit in the products we are selling, one important figure which comes out in the last year was trips with public transportation. And that was getting much more important during the last years. So we are creating trips where people only travel by boat and train and using public transport. And that is something which was getting more important and is getting more important for 25. But all in all, we are very satisfied, and I think our destinations are speaking for themselves. So Scandinavia is absolutely a trend destination for Germany.
Fantastic, Janka. I mean, very interesting about the public transport and how your clients are looking to start taking and demanding the public transport. So basically, you would say that Scandinavia as a destination, Nordic countries that you're offering, have a decent infrastructure of public transport. But I guess you need this to develop further. I'm thinking about this because I think we have an audience throughout Europe, and I would imagine a lot of countries are thinking, do they have the correct infrastructure with the public transport to offer to the clients? But it is very important part for your customers, yeah?
Absolutely, it's getting more and more important. And for example, when we are talking about the winter product, at least the Germans are afraid of driving their own car. That means for us, people are flying into a destination, and then we need public transport to bring them out of the hotspots. And if there's no public transportation, or if our partners don't offer any transportation, we don't have any possibilities to bring them out of the hotspots. And I think there's much more potential if we look in the surrounding areas to offer the authentic experience what the people are looking for. So I think public transportation, especially during the winter time, is one of the key factors if we would like to develop our products.
Super, thank you. Very interesting. Much appreciated. Thank you very much, Janka. Bruno, can we come to you in Switzerland and have a little update from your side? Thank you.
Yes, hello everybody. My name is Bruno Biesig. I'm the general manager of Kondikireisen. I've been working since 2003 actually for the company. We are part of their group, which is also a European-wide company. You might know it from other brands. However, in Switzerland, we are belonging to the Quoni specialists in this division, and we are specialized on the northern countries, which comes from Iceland over Scandinavia to the Baltics and Scotland. We do serve from our product range, actually. We do have the nature observers, the ones who are really the nature lovers. We do have active with snowshoeing or hiking. Then we also have the culture seekers, they are interested in the culture, and as well as some heroes who are doing really competitive cross-country skiing. So this is our average from the product side. In general, we do have approximately 85% of individual travelers and 50% of group travelers, which makes a total of 18,000 customers per year. When I look back actually to the year 24, we had quite a good increase in all segments, except of the destination for Iceland, which might be a little bit different from the pricing and volcanoes, where we don't know exactly. So what is the fact? And but if we look also forward, winter 25 in Scandinavia, and the summer business is increasing the same way as it did in the past. So this is on one hand really nice, but on the other hand, we are also a bit, how to say, it's difficult to see when it comes to mass tourism. So we could see the slide of Jan that the customers don't like mass tourism, and we have to be careful in which direction Scandinavia will go.
Thank you, Bruno. And that's a very interesting point about the mass tourism, which we will talk about a little bit in a few minutes. But can you just expand on that a little bit? So you're finding that even in the Nordic countries, and obviously we see this in the rest of Europe, the mass tourism discussion is very prevalent at the moment. So in the Nordics, it's even there perceived some destinations as getting too busy. Let's put it that way.
Yes, I mean, we could see the effect actually in Iceland when Iceland there changed their strategy to North America, and it's the airlines are the main drivers together with the local tourism boards, and the more infrastructure from talking now about transportation, the more passengers are there, the lower the price, the more in the market. But then you have some hotspots, especially when we look at Iceland. So it was around the Golden Circle, and then was a huge, PR, public reputation, PR in the Swiss media about Iceland, how many customers are there, and this affects then the whole country. So and this is dangerous. So there can be one hotspot destroying much more than we want to.
Absolutely. So the media plays an important part in this as well, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks very much, Bruno. Super. Thanks for the update from your side. Thomas, can we come over to you on your side? Good morning to you.
Hi, good morning. Thanks, Paul. I'm Thomas, founding Vianova. We are a tour operator and operating Finland since 8 years. So we are not a specialist in Nordic countries. What we do mainly, beside having bus tours in summertime, is organizing own charter chains to smaller destinations that are a little bit unique and off the beaten track and not as big as the big players are very interested in. So when we operate what we do this winter again with Kuusamo and Tromsø destinations, we are very, very like specialist for this one and specializing in 2, 3, 4 products, but we don't have a big variety on products. So our customers are mainly looking for unique experience, are mainly first-time visitors at the time, like season and at the destination. Even having in 8 years of operating Finland now, already 15% of repeaters every year, only with our products, not as a specialist like the other two operators in Germany. What we see comparing last winter, 23-24, and coming winter 24-25, is that our 2 destinations in Scandinavia are developing a little different. Finland was on a very, very high level last winter and will be on a high level this winter as well. That's what we expect from our forecasts. We have a totally different development in Norway, where we operate Tromsø as an airport, going down to Lofoten Island and going up to Alta and North Cape in the north. So from this perspective and from asking our customers and B2B partners, so 20% of our business is B2B, 80% is B2C. We have the feeling that the value of money, the value of traveling in Finland is better and more stable without the high peaks that we experienced in North Norway, that this has perhaps an impact of our booking numbers, because they are all our booking numbers compared with other colleagues that we talked openly about are more or less the same. So this is something that we see from the quality point of view. I really, really hope, seeing the forecast for the next years, that the high number or increase of numbers in flight capacity that we bring into the markets is going more or less synchronized with the numbers of services, the numbers of experience that we have in the market. I agree totally with Bruno that the quality point of view from the German, from the DACH-speaking market is very high, expecting in Scandinavia. So when our guests planning holidays in Scandinavia, their quality expectation is very high. It's even high from the emotional point of view, what is very, very unique compared Northern Europe, Northern Scandinavia to other destinations in Europe.
Super, thanks, Thomas. Can I ask you a question? Actually, it came as one of the Q&As. I just caught it there, and obviously you have some big volumes to certain destinations with your charters. Has the German economy, which obviously not in the best position it is at the moment, is that having an effect on bookings, the basic economic situation in Germany, or is it pretty much business as usual despite the challenges in the economy?
Actually, Paul, we don't see this effect on when I see our winter holidays in Scandinavia. Luckily, I don't see that. But compared to 2008, 2009, where I experienced something similar in Europe, we had this crisis all over in Europe. We for sure saw, savings in travels. But I think the target group that we are actually targeting with our winter holidays in Scandinavia, for them, it's not their first holiday and their main holiday. So I would say it's like their third one, traveling a longer time in summer, having whatever city break, a family, other family vacation around Easter or autumn. But the winter holiday is like number 2 or 3. So, and so far it's so filled up with emotions and uniqueness that compared to other ones, I have the feeling it's not saved already. So it's not saved by money. So the Germans rather prefer to save something without uniqueness that is comparable. And the Finland, Norway, whatever Scandinavia products are uniquer than other destinations, other holidays. That's my theory about.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think it shows really the resilience of the tourism market, and that people need holidays. Maybe after what we've been through in the last few years, people putting holidays right up there as one of the most important things not to sacrifice during the year. So thanks for that insight, Thomas. Brilliant. And finally, can I come over to you, Chris? If you'd like to give us an update from your side, from Highlanderizer, over to you.
Thanks. I'm here in Spain at the moment, so I hope you can hear me. I'm not the best conditions yet. I'm here for cycling, as you can see. My bike's in the back, so I'm off later on. The company founded 1993, so it's quite old. But when we took over the company, my compagnon and myself, in 2018, we had about 20 tours or something, and now it's 220 tours. So it's changed a lot. And at that time, it was only hiking, a little bit winter, and now it is hiking, polar trips, and also adventure trips. There's going to be a big relaunch before Christmas with a new icon new logo, new claim, new web page, and so on. So we try to get deeper into the market, but more into that adventurous market, because the hiking market is doing quite good, and the polar market as well. So it's quite big with hiking. It's always good, and now it's worldwide. But when it comes to winter, it was quite new to us. It was just a side project, and now it's I think 40% of the turnover, or something like that. So it's really, really huge. I'm not sure about the numbers, but it just exploded, and we're doing online only, so no brochures. I was always hoping for that. So I hate brochures, and I wanted to get rid of them. And the good thing is it's going to work out. So it's 70%. It's B2C overall. I think in winter it's 95% B2C. And we try to do everything directly with small enterprises, as we are a privately owned enterprise ourselves. So it's two owners, myself and my colleague. And yeah, we try to focus on the remote areas. And so the clients have to pay a little bit more, but that's worth it. So our clients are like the silver surfers, best stagers, and they don't care. So they pay everything. It's more when it comes to mass tourism, we have a problem with availability. So let's say we have a request of way more than 10 million euros, but we just can place 30% of it because everything is sold out, or the flights are too expensive. So probably the issues we're going to focus later on. And at some points, we have an agency helping us out. I see she's here as a listener. So hello to my agency. She helps us out at that problem areas like Tromsø, which is a huge problem. And yeah, so of course we are an economic, and we try to push it as far forward as we can. So, but we also see that there is a problem with mass tourism at some places, but we try to avoid them. So we always try to get to the areas away from Rovaniemi, away from Tromsø as soon as possible. So we try to land there, we take the airport, and then we disappear and go for the countryside, the small enterprise, because we are more like a boutique tour operator, I would say. So really selected tours, and so you know what you get. So we don't have ranges like cheap and high. It's more like the average is around 3,000 euros at the moment per person for 4 or 7 day trips. So yeah, it's a big boom, and everything Jan has said in his what he was showing in the first hand, I totally agree. So it's interesting to be in that market now. As said, we're just on the market for 6 years now, and we see that winter is quite easy to sell. So it's a no-brainer, to be honest.
Thanks, Chris. And it's really interesting to hear about the incredible development of the adventure market. And wait, can I just ask you, you're just getting the sun out. There we go.
Yeah, sorry about that, warm here.
No, we're all craving for a bit of Spanish sun, I can assure you.
Yeah.
Regarding the adventure part of it, so it's absolute boom listening to you how the adventure holidays has developed. What sort of adventure what sort of adventure products are you featuring in your programs?
It's always are we talking about winter or summer?
Both, actually, both.
Yeah, I mean summer it's hiking, so it's it's hiking, but the people don't really hike anymore. So let's say they buy hiking, but they just can do 10 or 15K. So our clients, yeah, that's getting a problem. People are getting less fit, so we have always to reduce the length of the hiking tours. So our guides, when I did that, I asked them what's the biggest problem. I said it's the fitness of the people, but hiking is big. And especially Norway is exploding. Lofoten is exploding. Northern Norway is exploding. In summertime, it's huge. So I think we have 6 different tour series in Northern Norway at the moment, and some in the south. Also a little bit Finland. We try to focus on autumn, which is quite nice, and also in Tromsø in autumn, because then you have the Northern Lights and the hiking, so it's a good combination. And you have Ruska. And then in winter, it's always the same. It's the reindeers, it's the snowmobile, it's the Northern Lights, it's the snowshoe tour, and it's the igloo. So everybody's asking for the same. So every email is pretty much the same, and they're all asking for the same exact thing. And the only thing is the flight, which is the biggest problem. I mean, SAS is not really doing a good job. Finnair is also, like, I would say, mediocre. And good thing is that Lufthansa and Eurowings and so on, they took place and entered the market, and they saw that there's a gap. And now it's Discover Airlines, which is great for us. I mean, we have Austria, Switzerland, and Germany as a market. So we don't mind about where they fly from. So the best thing that we can have is direct connections, and there's popping up connections every day. So I don't know who's flying from where to where, because every day there's a new connection, which is good for us.
Sure, sure. It's amazing how hiking holidays have become so huge now, and thanks for identifying, because that maybe is our next question. I'm going to open to the panel now. You mentioned about how Northern Norway is a particularly popular product for you now, featuring many different areas around Northern Norway. Maybe I can open it up to the panel. What are the kind of current hot and popular destinations for you? Maybe Bruno from the Swiss side. Which are the destinations that are really selling well at the moment, presumably in the Nordics with your responsibility?
Yes, it is what has been said as well. So that's also for the Swiss market. You can say in general, it's north of the polar circle. So for us, it doesn't matter then if it's Norway, Sweden, or Finland. But when it comes to the winter business, Finland with this poppy trees and snow filled trees. So this is something unique also for Switzerland. But I think winter, sometimes I've been asked, why do the Swiss go to Scandinavia for the winter? So because then the mountains and the Norwegian, how to say, steep mountains, that's something we have in Switzerland. Therefore, winter in Finland is very popular.
Interesting, interesting. How about yourself, Janka? What's proving very popular at the moment?
Well, during the winter time, it's like every year, it's Tromsø and the surrounding areas. In Finland, it's for example Inari, which sells quite good. Of course, area of Rovaniemi and Kemi because of the icebreaker, for example, and experiences you could have there. But what we combine in the moment is Tromsø with Spitsbergen, Svalbard, and that works really good. That is getting more and more important on the interesting on the German market. And yeah, during the summertime, it's all over Scandinavia. We are selling lots of trips in the southern part of Norway. I would say for the beginners, Lofoten is always a known name in Germany, which sells. And of course, Tromsø, yeah, they did a good job during the last years. So they do have a name in Germany. So that sells as well.
Absolutely. It's interesting to again that I can hear from all of you actually that the northern parts and the Arctic part of the northern destinations are doing so well at the moment. Obviously, for obvious reasons, in the winter, we know that the snow and the northern lights and all the products related to that are making it so popular. But also the fact now that in the summer people are hiking and people are looking for these destinations as well. But I was going to ask you, Thomas, because you're a little bit different. You also focus on other destinations as well. Is there any, besides your Finnish programs, is there any other particular destination, maybe in Europe, that's particularly selling well?
To be honest, there's no such really strong destinations that we actually serve as the Finnish destination. The reasons are, as I mentioned earlier, when I see uniqueness, I rather miss uniqueness in classical destinations, what is hard for us. The competition is very high. We have a lack of capacity charter-wise because we need whole planes for a series of rotations, what is harder to get in summer. So that's why we concentrate on the times like that is kind of low season for airlines. This is like the early summer, spring, or the late summer, autumn area. And from this point of view, we are happy and concentrating on like the next month and next year's destinations like the Balkan region or even Greece is coming. And Greece offers much more than sun and beach. This is something that we have on our list. But what I want to say about what is working well is when we starting a new destination, it's that we sometimes we even create the emotions, and especially about Finland, our first time visitors. I'm very strong in one particular destination in Finland. What was used to be mainly known by Finns themselves that spent their holidays there, but was not very well known on international market. That is not an issue for us as we create in our customer journey values. We have a marketing funnel that creates demand. And when this demand is making this decision already in mind, like I want to do this kind of experience, I want to experience these things, then it's up to us, as Jan mentioned, to make like the sales call and to really be the one to operate it. That is luckily to bring the customers up to the north. In the end, I totally agree with Chris. In wintertime, for the Germans, that our customers are this kind of bucket of huskies, reindeers, snowshoeing, sauna. This is a must-have for more or less everybody. The returners, they change their mind. They already experience everything and concentrate on what they like the most. Doing the snowshoeing for 3 days or having overnight somewhere else. And what we realized in last 2 seasons, like after Corona, is that the upselling is incredibly high. So we sometimes really have to calm the customers down, that it does not make sense to spend all the money that they have and to fill every minute, because then they miss some time to reflect what they just experienced. So to have an overnight in an ice igloo and a glass villa and have the 25K on the Husky and a whole day on the snowmobile does not make sense when you're only 5 days in the destination. So this is something where we really experience that they are will to pay money to get experiences. What we do not see in other destinations.
Absolutely. And listening to you, Thomas, and to everybody, this authentic experience seems to be so important for the Dutch-speaking markets. And you're all saying it in different ways, that certain of your products are doing very well because of the authenticity that these destinations offer. I'd like to move on a little bit now to the sustainability element of holidays and how important is sustainability for your customers nowadays? Are they demanding it? Are they saying that, are they wanting to see from you guys that the destinations and the products you're offering are fully sustainable, or is it not really up there as a key factor? Maybe I can start with you, Chris. You offer authenticity in your products and your adventure holidays. How important is sustainability for your customers?
Yeah, a little bit with Bruno, as he said, it's mass tourism is an issue. I mean, the people are talking about sustainability, but how to create that when you have actually more people than a country can take. So when it comes to Scandinavia, they have to face that. I think they're more prepared than, let's say, Barcelona, Amsterdam, or all these, Venice, or so places like that. They really have big issues. I think Scandinavia is, I think they know what's going to happen to them. They're a little bit more prepared, and they have to be. I mean, like Scandic is also trying to do a good job. When you're in the hotels, Scandic hotels, you see that, you know, with the soap and with the towels and so on. But of course, this is an issue, and I don't know how big the influence is at the moment on the landscape in Scandinavia, but it can get an issue. Of course, if you hike all over Lofoten Islands, there's going to be erosion and so on. So of course you have to try to avoid something like Rhine, where everybody's hiking up the same highway and so on, because then you destroy the mountains. So yeah, I'm with Bruno. I mean, he's in the market way longer than we are, but we are now in the market and bringing people as well as a newbie. So, and there's going to be some other companies bringing more people. And yeah, you have to face the truth that there is gold digging up in the north. It is, because it's a no-brainer. Everybody wants to go there. If you're 20 or if you're 80, you want to go there. So it's not a matter of age. You just want to go there. So they have to face actually to see what they can do about that. And like Janka was saying, with public transport, we see Bessa Arctic is doing a good job as they try to open up their public routes, and we use them immediately. Also because the bus is like 2,000 euros or more a day in Norway, so we can't afford that with a small group. So of course you try to take a public transport, and if Bessa Arctic is going to continue with this job with the good connections in the summertime, like for example, you go from Tromsø to Rovaniemi, and they said they have good numbers and it's increasing, I say, yeah, that's a good deal. And of course, you will always have hotspots like Tromsø and Rovaniemi, which is a problem because there's always someone from Asia or from America paying more than the Germans because they're a little bit greedy. So there are. So of course you have people paying more. I don't know if the answer is build more hotels. I'm not sure about that, because you don't want to make it ugly. So of course you have to build some more hotels. Like Alta probably is going to build some more hotels as they have more direct connections now. But I'm not sure if that's the answer. I'm more like take the private properties all around the area and try to emphasize on small scale businesses if possible. And that's what I see, and that's my last sentence. I always see that Sweden has so much potential if they would be able to open up a flight connection that's working out and that's going to continue and not going to break away immediately. So Sweden is a lot of potential. So I don't know if someone from Sweden is here, but so much potential. Try to get it. Try to do the same like Finland and Norway, because there's a space, there's possibility, and I don't know what's the problem, but there could be a lot more done in Sweden.
I think you got the message across very clearly.
Yeah.
It's obviously very clear that wherever there's a potential for a destination, products to be developed, where there is no mass tourism, where there is no overcrowding, where customers can come and enjoy a peaceful program from the minute they land to the minute they go back, is what your customers generally are looking for. But can I ask you, Bruno, do you feel that there is a closer look from customers now to look to the north during the summer because of the high temperatures in the Mediterranean in the summer? Do you think more people are starting to say, I just want to get away from the hot climate up into the north? Or you're not seeing this in terms of bookings?
I talked about
in terms of booking, we can see we have an increase, so that's what we see. But we are not able actually to track if this is an alternate destination. But what I think, it's a different kind of customers, the ones who are staying on the beach for 1 week, or the ones who are doing a round trip. In the summertime, it's mainly a car round trip. So who is exploring actually an area. So definitely the northern countries are much more in the media. There's much more attention actually for the northern countries, and therefore we have an increase. But I think so. If the southern, the Mediterranean area is too hot, maybe you go more to northern Germany, to the east, let's say Baltic Sea, for some sunbathing, but not further north.
Okay, thank you for that. Jan, you've done a lot of research for many customers in the Nordic region. Are you feeling they're all much more open to develop new programs in the summer as this shift of customers looking to the south are starting to crave cooler beaches or cooler climates?
As Bruno mentioned, it has been really in the media. So the media is talking about coolcation, and this has been a wording what has been used by some DMOs as well, doing first steps toward that. I think it's this sort of balance, as some panelists already mentioned. It's not the first; it's often the second or third holidays when it comes to winter. And in winter time, again, it's another target group, the very more adventurous one than the seeker ones, as Bruno mentioned, driving around with their own cars. So there are different target groups. Of course, there are some similarities product-wise, and this has been in so many discussions with tour operators. When it comes to the activities, the challenges are very often that the same sort of activities you can get all over in Europe, and people start to compare as experienced travelers. They start to compare, well, hiking guided or biking or canoeing, I can do in the neighborhood almost. But when going to the north in winter time, there are activities, as mentioned here, that you can't get everywhere else. So this is the issue all tour operators are dealing with, to emphasize people traveling toward the summertime, to expanding the season. Everybody's trying that, and there's hard work going on to expand the season or extend the season, using the Indian summer, using the early northern lights. There is huge potential, but it's not like a no-brainer like in wintertime where everybody has it on its bucket list.
Exactly. Thanks, Jan. Janka, just over to you in terms of obviously a lot of your products are in their very nature sustainable products. Are you feeling that any of the customers demanding labeling, sustainable labeling, when they're booking their holidays, or do they just presume that the whole of the Nordic region is sustainable in its very nature?
Well, I think there are different perspectives on that question. On the one hand, well, our destinations do have a really good labeling, and most of our partners have those labels. And I think it's getting more and more important, and it's important for us to take care of that and to take our part and help saving the environment and doing whatever we can to protect everything. But on the other hand, I see it from our customers that they don't want to pay for that, and they don't want to ask for that. I mean, they're choosing very often public transport like the Arctic route and trains and boat connections. But I think mainly of the reason because it's a nice way of traveling, and it's a nice way of doing some experiences and doing other experience than they could do in other countries, but they don't ask for sustainable travel. And I think if we label some of our products as a sustainable trip, or we recommend that as sustainability, and when we are saying that they need to pay, for example, 200 euro more because it's sustainable, they don't want to do that. So I think it's, we are on a good way, but in the mind of the people, they have to happen a lot.
Absolutely. I think the cost element is always going to be there. People want sustainable holidays, but they're not yet willing to pay for it. Maybe the economy doesn't help on that, but I think that's a very good summary of where we are. And the kind of last big topic that we want to talk about is this overcrowding. And I think a lot of the audience here are maybe surprised that we have this overcrowding, as we mentioned, in certain destinations in the Nordic region. What other issues are there that overcrowding is causing, besides the fact that airports are busy and hotel availability is difficult? What other risks are there with these mass tourism areas that we need to, the product owners need to look out for, the service providers? This is a question I wanted to ask you, Thomas. You know, what are the real dangers that this overcrowding can cause, and why we need to be looking for more off the beaten track areas, besides the fact that it's just busy and availability is more difficult to come by?
I think we create in marketing expectations, and especially in the winter Nordic destinations. There are lots of Instagram, Facebook stories of our neighbors, of our colleagues, what they experienced. The slide that Jan started with, so with this candle tree, everything packed in snow. So it's probably like a December, January picture, but what's when they start their holidays early March? And they most likely don't see this like packed snow trees anymore. The same things about the expectations of having northern lights. And when you see nowadays the newer generations where like time to really arrive in the holiday is not there anymore. So the biggest fear that I have is like that the expectations are too high, and that the only destinations that I see in our range is like more Southern Europe, because everybody knows about some beaches in Spain or in Turkey or on Cyprus. And so the expectations are very high because you have experienced perhaps this 5-star hotel quality or cruise. So what's when you go to another destination in the southern part of Europe and you don't see exactly what you experienced years ago? Then you are disappointed and you don't like the holiday anymore. We experienced in the past 8 years something totally different. The expectations of our guests starting to a winter holiday was very low. They didn't know anything about then, yeah, there will be most likely snow and perhaps sauna. This is the only thing they knew about Finland. And then they experienced snowshoeing, very nice. They didn't see the northern lights, but no matter, because Husky was so emotional. They even cried sometimes on sitting on the sledge. So they almost forget about the northern lights. And in the end, they had, even when there was like new snow every day and no northern lights at all, a wonderful holiday. And what I think is that we really, really, really have to take care of this authenticity. We as a German tour operator, we always include like a fireplace experience in all activities, no matter if it's snowshoeing or husky or reindeer. So our guests end up all the time, even not knowing that they end up at a fire, but there at least has to be a 30 minutes break to reflect and calm down. Some of them just sit there for 30 minutes and stare at the fire because they don't experience this in Germany anymore. And when you change the perspective from your own like surroundings to like the Central European thing where we have 80 million in a country that is the same size as Norway or as Finland, but 20 times more inhabitants, this uniqueness to have this nature driving 30 kilometers from an airport to whatever an hotel and do not see any village. This is something that we don't have anymore that is unique for us. And we have to keep this uniqueness rather than creating a Sami camp or a Husky camp close by to a surrounding that offers a lot of hotel capacity. Because this is, in the end, from my perspective, destroying this wonderful image that we created and the DMOs created in the past decades of having uniqueness, calm nature, less people than we have in our cities. And when we arrive then on an airport that is handling 20 times the capacity that he can normally handle, because everybody wants to fly in on Saturday and Sunday, that's the first time that you destroy this situation. And so what will follow in the next years on some places will be very interesting, not to have what Bruno mentioned, that we do not see a copy in customers' brains from some bad news in a certain area or in a certain place to the whole destination. Because when this happens, we all don't have answers because nowadays we just like enjoying this no-brain product, as Chris mentioned it. Yeah, this is what I'm a little afraid of.
Yeah, managing these expectations is absolutely key moving forward. And Chris, to ask you this as well, obviously you have a lot of interesting products, expeditions as well. How are you managing the expectations of the clients when they're obviously it's not the cheapest product they're buying? Are they pretty much always satisfied with the products you're offering, or is it always becoming more and more of a challenge to say this is a perfect program? How's that working?
I would say it's a 99% is lucky people. I think snow, I mean, it's a good thing about snow. Snow always makes you happy. So that's a good thing about snow. When it's there, people are happy. So same with that. So it's exotic. And what is exotic is usually something you do once in a lifetime. So it's a bucket list thing, as you don't have contact with that beforehand. So if you have never driven a husky sled, it will be something fantastic or adventurous. So you will have it in your mind and you go back home and you have something for your diary. It's different when you go to Spain, like I'm in Malaga. I think I've never been here, but I think everybody has been here except me. So this is something you know what's going to happen to you. So it's you walk in here and you say, okay, I know what's going on. So I think the winter thing is because it's something exotic and we have to realize that. So people are experience something unusual, and that's the reason why it's always a win-win situation. And so they don't think about the money and at the end anymore. I mean, our clients are more like from Western Germany and Austria and Switzerland. So I think it also has to do with the income you have, but they don't care. So when they go for resorts, adults only or stuff like that. So we have small groups, and we always try to take the remote areas. It's always a win-win situation, I would say.
Super. I mean, I'm listening to all of you and authenticity, exotic, emotional. These are real qualities that the clients are demanding now. And I was going to ask Jan maybe to the final word really on this is that obviously the Nordic destinations have all this in abundance, but there are risks connected to it. There are potential areas where there is mass tourism where this will definitely put off some of the customers. So I think seasonality is key. I think finding new destinations and DMOs are very proactive in certain areas, and I could hear Chris screaming for everywhere to be more proactive in finding these new areas that are really more off the beaten track. What are your feelings, Jan, about the sort of future there? Are we in good hands in the Nordics in terms of more destinations, extending the season and still being able to offer that authentic experience?
We see this high pressure at the moment. We have been talking today. We heard as well about destinations where it's a huge potential and not having direct flights. And this is what I see as a key, at least some part, to solve that, to kind of divide the area more, or to combine different destinations, but not flying in everybody to the same. But this is the pressure you have on the market. Everybody has those emotions driven by social media, for example. So there are expectations. There's a bucket list thing of say, you want to go to this place. On the other hand, the DMOs, they are working hard, and the tourist boards are working hard to get flights to other destinations as well, to get more a balance in terms of bringing in the people. There's space enough, so this is not the issue. But if everybody is flying in from all European countries, as we can see in some places, the capacity can't take it, the airports can't take it. And this is, as mentioned today a couple of times, it's destroying the product. So there is a risk. But by dividing that, or to getting the flights to the smaller places or to other airports, and to get a better balance between the countries, but especially between the destinations, would be one of the keys to handle the situation.
Super, thanks, Jan. Well, that's pretty much all we have time for. So lot to reflect on, I'm sure. We didn't mention the Baltic region, which also has very low density countries, low density population countries. So they obviously offer similar experiences. I've seen a couple of questions on that, and I'm sure there is potential for those areas as well. But I'd like to thank our panelists very much for joining us today. We really appreciate your time and great insight. To our hosts, Etoa, thank you for hosting this with us. And to you all for joining us, and we'll hope to see you very soon, and wishing you all a good week ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks
Bye.
a lot.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.